This server was supposed to solve all of my problems, but instead I spent a whole month trying to troubleshoot and fix this thing. And I think I finally got it working. So let's see what I'm talking about. This right here is my 2-in-1 NAS and AI home server. This is not off the shelf server because I handpicked these parts and assembled this computer by myself. It runs a 36 terabyte TrueNAS local AI models like Gemma 4, DeepSeek, and Qwen 3.5, all completely offline and completely private. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I assembled or built this thing. And real quick, this is not a sponsored video. I bought all these parts with my own money. Now let's talk about the case first. So if you have seen my past videos, I originally was using the Jonsbo N6 case. It was too big and it did not fit in my IKEA shelf. And back then I was actually trying to build a different type of server, a 3-in-1 server, which also did gaming. It did not work out like I expected it, so I returned that case and got the new Jonsbo N6 case. Now this new case is smaller in every direction, and that matters because the whole reason I got this case is because it fits right there in my IKEA shelf without any issues, and it's a really flush or tight fit. Now this way I can actually organize my mini PCs and have them on a shelf rather than have them on the floor like I used to. Overall, my setup looks clean and subtle. Now, if you look inside the case, it's split into two different chambers. The top section is where you would put the motherboard, the CPU, and even the graphics card, and heck, even the power supply. While the bottom section is dedicated for hard drives. And it's got two fans that would blow hot air out, and there's enough good distance between the hard drives, and then these hard drives are hot swappable. You can check out the full review up here somewhere, I'll link it, and you can look at it in more detail. Now let's talk about cooling. This case originally comes with two 120mm fans that run at 1750 RPM. And honestly, they're way loud, like way loud to where I cannot keep them in the same room and work. So instead, I swapped those fans out for BeQuiet fans. You can even go with Noctua fans as they're quieter, but overall, swapping out the fans made a huge difference. Now for the CPU cooler, this case can only support low profile CPU coolers if you're going the fan route. So tower coolers and big CPU coolers are out of question. You need something compact. So I went the liquid cool route by buying a Thermaltake 240mm AIO. This is all water cooled. And again, I had to swap out the fans because the fans that this came with were pretty loud. So I swapped out for, again, BeQuiet fans, and then things became manageable. Now let's talk about the hardware. But before we do that, let me tell you the main purpose of this build. So the goal is to have a machine that can run a NAS system that stores all of my media, files, all of my content, and also run AI that's offline local AI on the side. And this should all fit in one machine, all sitting on one shelf. Now for the parts list, I'll link everything in the description below, but let me just go over the key components that helped me put this device together. For the CPU, I went with the Ryzen 9 9900. This has 12 cores and 24 threads. Now, is this an overkill for a home server? Probably, but I wanted that headroom just in case. When you're running AI models and NAS device at the same time, you don't want to be anywhere near the limit, so this should give me enough headroom. Now for the motherboard, I went with the MSI Pro 850M. This right here is a Micro-ATX form factor motherboard. It does have onboard Wi-Fi 7. It has a 5 gigabits per second LAN and PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for GPU. This board checked all the boxes that I was looking for. For the graphics card, I wanted to stay within the budget, so I got the RTX 5060 Ti with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. That's the key important thing, because the more RAM your graphic card has, you can run bigger models. I'm upgrading from an RTX 4060 that only had 8 gigs of RAM, so I was able to run, very low-end models. With this card, I can run good and better models like Gemma 4 26 billion parameter without breaking a sweat. And that's just one example. You can easily run DeepSeek models, Ollama, Qwen 3.5. You can run pretty average or decent sized models. And the best part is that all this is running offline and completely privately. So all your data, all your questions stay local to this device. Now for RAM, I already had 128 gigabytes of Corsair DDR5 RAM from my old system. The 128 gigabytes of RAM gives me plenty of room for running all of the virtual machines and run my AI models and run run my NAS. I know it's hard to get that kind of RAM these days since the prices are kind of outrageous, but let's hope that the prices do come down so that we can buy beefy hardware for, on a budget. Now for the SSDs, I went with a couple of drives. I had the 1TB Western Digital SN770, and I had another Samsung Evo 990 for, running other VMs. Overall, you could put 2 NVMe SSDs on this motherboard. So I went with that. And for power supply, I put a 750 watt of ATX power supply by Roswell. And this should be enough to put the system under load. That's more than enough. I went with Toshiba drives. These are a total of 36 terabytes of NAS storage. All right, enough about hardware. Now let's talk about the software or the operating system. The first thing that I did was install Proxmox, which is a hypervisor, and that lets you run multiple operating systems. Now for the storage piece, I'm using TrueNAS Scale, and for AI, I'm going to be using an Ubuntu server operating system, and I'll be running OpenWeb UI mainly for running the AI models. Installing Proxmox is pretty straightforward. Just go to that website and download the ISO, flash it using a flash drive. I use Rufus for that, and then plug in the USB drive and boot from it and just follow the installer. The one thing that you need to get right during the setup is the network configuration, and make sure that you set static IP so that, next time the server reboots or you move around, the IP does not change and it remains the same. Once the install was complete, I rebooted the device, unplugged my USB drive, and I was ready to access this. To access Proxmox, once the installation is completed, just go to your browser, Chrome, and then type in the URL address that's showing on the server. And that's it. You don't need the server anymore. You can control everything from the mobile or desktop browser. Now, like I said, for the NAS, I went with TrueNAS Scale. It's purpose-built for network storage. It handles ZFS natively, and it's got a solid web interface, which is highly customizable. So by choice, I'm using TrueNAS Scale for my hypervisor all day long. Now to get this virtual machine all set up, I first gave it 24 gigs of RAM, and I gave it 4 CPUs, and I gave it a total of 8 cores. And that's basically 4-core CPU and 8 threads. And this is important that I pin these cores. That means that 4 cores are dedicated to TrueNAS so that this does not interfere with the main operating system. Each virtual machine is getting its own set of CPU cores so that they're not fighting for resources when they're both under load. Before I could set up a TrueNAS thoroughly, I needed to pass through my physical hard drives to the virtual machine. To do this, I'll leave the instructions in the description below, but basically you need to pass through your hard drives using the unique serial numbers that you get on your, hard drive. And that's mainly because the device path can change between reboots. So your SDA, SDAB could reshuffle, and that would completely destroy or, break your NAS. So the correct way to do it is by passing through each hard drive using the unique serial number so that next time they reboot, the order stays the same. I have a separate video walking through that process step by step. If you want a full detail, I'll link that up here somewhere or in the description below, so do check that out. All right, now that I had my TrueNAS Scale up and running, I was able to transfer all of my data from my temporary B-Link, ME Mini NAS that was basically running on 2 drives or a mirror. So I transferred all of my 15 terabytes worth of data onto this NAS, and everything went smoothly, and it's been running smooth ever since. Now, honestly speaking, if you just want to go the easy route, you can easily install a Windows 11 virtual machine, throw LM Studio on it or Ollama on it, and then you're done in minutes. And for most people, that's probably more than enough. However, I like to go the difficult route, and I like using Linux operating systems. So therefore, I used a Linux virtual machine and used Linux server hooked up with, NVIDIA graphics card. Now, the reason I went with Ubuntu server are quite few. The first one is obvious. There's no need for a license, unlike Windows 11. You have to purchase the thing and you have to, pay for the license, whereas Linux is free. Beyond that, Windows has gotten way too much going on. It's using up a lot of system resources for updates, for, running the whole operating system. Overall, it's very bloated. So for running server stuff at home, I prefer using Linux. Those are lightweight, they do not consume too much RAM, and they're not bogging down the system. And the best part with Linux is that it's running 24/7 without any issues, whereas Windows has to take a freaking update here and then, I just don't like Windows anymore. Now, the first thing I had to do was pass through my GPU, and then for that I enabled IO MMU. I'll link the instructions in the description below. It's by Surf the Home YouTube channel. It's very simple and straightforward instructions on how to enable IO MMU. And what IO MMU does, it exposes your hardware to Proxmox, and those devices show up like the graphics card, the hard drives, and all that stuff. So once you get that enabled, the next step is passing through the NVIDIA graphics card onto the virtual machine. Again, you have to blacklist some drivers. You have to, make some tweaks here and there. Again, I'll link everything in the description below because this was the most hair-pulling thing that I had to do. Luckily, this time I did not have to make a lot of changes on the BIOS. So I went ahead and installed the Ubuntu server. And again, I gave it 48 gigs of RAM and 8 cores or 16 threads this time, since I want this to have more CPU. And again, I pin these cores to the virtual machine so that it's not fighting for resources when it's under heavy load. I also passed through the RTX 5060 graphics card directly onto this VM using PCIe pass-through so that Ollama gets full native access to the GPU, granted it 500 gigabytes of storage. The next thing I did was install Ollama and OpenWeb UI. I was ready to go and fired up my AI server, and everything was working great. Now, I'll be doing a separate video where I break down the performance of running these AI models on an RTX 5060 card inside Proxmox. So do stay tuned for that video. That'll be my next video. Now let's move on to, some challenges and issues that I faced on the way. I'm not going to pretend that this went perfectly smooth on my first try. The GPU pass-through took some troubleshooting because the NVIDIA graphics or NVIDIA drivers needed to be blacklisted, and it was a very complicated, process in general. But once I did get it working after like 1 or 2 days of troubleshooting, then that was it and there were no more issues. So getting everything up and running is a challenge, and once it's up and running, then the challenge disappears. Now, the stock fans that came with this case, those were way too loud. It's totally fine if you're gonna put this in another room or a garage, but for my case, it's sitting right here next to my desk and I want things to be really quiet. So I opted for, BeQuiet fans, 4 of them, 2 for the AIO and then 2 for the case. And that was, a little annoying thing that I had to take care of. Also, fitting everything in this case is really tight. I don't like the fact that all the wires are like laying around like that. I'm going to probably try to do a better job of cable management, but then again, the main power supply unit is at the top, and that's the only way that the wires are going to go through. So I'll see if I can, tidy this up, but this is how it's going to be for a while. Now, once things were dialed in week 3 and 4, things got a lot better. The TrueNAS handled my 36 terabytes of storage without a sweat. Ollama was able to run 14 billion parameters, 26 billion parameters, all at usable speeds, and the whole server sits quietly on my shelf, pulling around 85 watts of power at idle. Now, if you remember my last video on this, my N5 build was a complete disaster for me because I was going for a 3-in-1 machine where I would be able to run games, do AI, and even, run a NAS using a 9950X 3D processor. But since I was not able to do that, this was the alternative option that I came up with. And this time I'm happy with the result. So here's the takeaway. If you want to build a compact NAS and AI server that actually fits your living space, the Jonsbo N6 case is a solid case for that. Pair that with Proxmox, TrueNAS Scale, and you have got a very own local AI setup with 36 terabytes of storage for NAS system. And all of that fits in a box smaller than your PC case. Well guys, that's it for this video. In my next video, I'll be benchmarking the Ollama models, running Gemma versus Quinn 3 versus, DeepSeek, just to see how many tokens per minute I'm getting and do, some deeper dives into AI. If this video helped you out or gave you ideas on your own build, smash the like button and subscribe. I'm going to be planning on doing more content more regularly. So, let me know what you want to see, what you want to talk about or look at. Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I'll see you in my next one.